we are here, why we asked you to come. And I'm going to do that on behalf of the Center for Social Justice. I think it's a very brief presentation about one page. I think it's going around. I'll begin by asking the question, why are we here? Is it for another yearly ritual to satisfy all righteousness? To have some fun? To have some fun maybe because we are bored from our respective places. Are we here to contribute to societal evolution and development? The answers we may find at the end of the day when we have finished listening to all the presentations, engage in discussions, and have our resolutions ready. We also come to the answers when we have devised strategies on next steps, because at the end of the day, written words on paper may not move the nation any closer to its desired ends if proactive action is not taken by stakeholders. We are in a period of grave national crisis. The crisis is on the fiscal, monetary, security, and other dimensions too many for us to mention. As you are aware, the Monetary Policy Committee of the Central Bank of Nigeria was supposed to meet last week, but it could not meet because they had no quorum. And what is responsible? Because the executive and the legislature cannot agree on what several administrations in Nigeria, what we took for granted, that somebody is presented to the Senate as required by the Constitution and by law, and he is screened. And the authors of our Constitution, in their wisdom, said it shouldn't be an executive act alone. You appoint and give to the representatives of the people to either affirm or to reject. And for the first time somebody was rejected, the presidency said no. You no longer have powers to screen. And so you brought forward other candidates. They said, well, since our screening makes no meaning, we are no longer screening. So we don't have a monetary policy committee today to sit. What the governor of the central bank merely did was to say, okay, we maintain the old rates. And only God knows when this will end. Because the Senate doesn't look like in the event of bulging. And the presidency does not even look at they are considering to do anything. So everywhere you turn, the nation is facing crisis at crossroads. And the signals are not looking exactly good. So what do we have to contribute at this Civil Society Summit on the budget? I suppose that we have had failed budget policies that have failed to work over the years. Budgets have not delivered development and economic growth. It has failed to lift millions out of poverty. It has rather deepened poverty and ensured that our climb out of misery and underdevelopment takes a longer time frame. Even if what I'm going to say now makes us angry, our budgets and the implementation have affirmed unfortunately shithole status. Donald Trump called us shithole countries and we are angry. But how do you define a shithole country? A country that is ungoverned, where life is so cheap, that people behave like they're in the jungle, the survival of the fittest. If anybody you can beat, you beat him up and kill him and slaughter him and nothing happens. What is the definition of a shithole country? We are angry because we are content. But if there is any name worse than that, that should be our appellation. If that will make us angry, decide to behave like human beings and not animals in the jungle, well, that would be a great achievement for Donald Trump. Advocating for improvements in economic planning, budgeting and development for the improvement of livelihoods in Nigeria is a Herculean task. Herculean in the sense that everybody, including policymakers and legislators, have a good idea of what to do to change the tide for the improvement of lives. However, no one seems willing to lift a major finger to change the narrative of events. Rather, year after year, we engage in the same cause that produces suboptimal results. I was amazed when last week, the former governor of Lagos State, who is now the Minister of Horsepower Housing, confessed that throughout 2017 his ministry did not do anything. I hope all of you saw it in the papers.
Yeah.
Did you not see it?
I saw it.
But the government is still busy doing propaganda of what they did. You can't continue governing the people through lies and propaganda. In 2016, the same thing was done. As at the close of the year, the release in the capital budget was less than 500 billion. But before you could say Jack Robinson, the Minister of Finance came and said they will release 1.2 trillion. Where were those projects? Nigerian administrators do not do projects without the fancy of them cutting, even if it is a public toilet. You can't invest 1.2 trillion without pictures of where the red tape was cut. Now, as we are going in December, the same thing was told to us that they have released extra 750 to bring it to another 1.2 trillion. And I'm aware of the fact that MDAs were asked to return their votes towards the end of the year. I have friends who are directors managing finance. And you are telling us you are releasing votes at a time the directors in charge of finance are saying that they have sent out circulars to MDAs to return money to treasury. Why must we continue to lie to ourselves? So, many recommendations from various stakeholders for previous year's federal budgets and other policy recommendations have been there on the shelf, gathering dust. There is inertia and lethargy all around as men and women who cannot properly run their families are occupying key positions of power. If you cannot run your family, you now want to run others. This brings forward the posers. Are we tired? Are we giving up the chase? My answer to the foregoing posers is a resounding no. We cannot give up the struggle, as that would be a betrayal, not just to the present generation, but to generations unborn. Notwithstanding the foregoing, civil society stakeholders must continue to offer budgetary and policy advice and recommendations and continue engagement in the hope that one day real change will come. As we deliberate in the next 2 days, not 2 years, we will seek answers to the following posers. Are the 2018 budget proposals in line with fit and good practices? Is the ERGP the actual anchor for the proposals, and how good is the ERGP? Because if you look at all the budget codes for this year, they're all starting with ERGP, including those who want to buy a brand new Prado, who I have challenged to show me the place in the ERGP where they said every director must drive a Prado. Rather, ERGP says buy made in Nigeria. And I don't know when Prados have become made in Nigeria vehicles and why 50 million naira must be budgeted for a single Prado as a national priority. Have we eliminated frivolous, inappropriate, unclear and wasteful proposals? Can the sectoral votes meet the aspirations of Nigerians? Beyond the votes, what other policy dimensions can we introduce to get the nation working? Now, this is where we must bring our best brains to talk. Recently, I call these other policy dimensions the big picture. That's the way I describe them. No nation survives with going cap in hand to others to do basic things like inoculating its children, ensuring that their pregnant mothers deliver safely. No nation is great. No nation survives if you must borrow 71 million lives from the World Bank, millions of dollars. And how do you hope to pay? That big picture is a picture that says everybody talks about universal health coverage. You cannot have universal health coverage without compulsory and universal health insurance. If you go and buy a 10, 15-year-old Tokumbo car from Europe, America, or Asia, before you set it on Nigerian roads, you are bound to insure it. If you don't, the police or FRC will arrest you. Now you have your life. There is nothing that says you must compulsorily insure your life or your health. That means we are not serious. We want good roads, but we don't have a road fund or a road management authority. We all agree our budget cannot pay for the road, so we must find ways to get alternative means of funding the road sector. I can go on and give examples of the big picture, which we have refused to adopt, and think that the little pennies that come from the budget is going to solve our problem. Now, what was the actual implementation of the 2017 budget? And what can we do to avoid the experience of 2017 in 2018? We're in the last days of January 2017. Evidently, the legislators are still working on the budget. That's why we are still talking. When is it likely going to be ready? Are we going to have it in June? And then, before you know it, it's the end of the year, everybody's complaining. So these are the issues we must find answers. And the big elephant in the room is what every Nigerian is discussing now, the insecurity. What has our budget got to do with security or insecurity? In what way can we use our budget to secure our country? Because the first job of any serious government is security of lives and property. If there's no security, the workshops will not hold. If there's no security, you cannot do tourism. If there's no security, your industries cannot work. If there's no security like we have today, farmlands will be destroyed, cattle will be destroyed. At the end of the day, we labor in vain. So what can our budget do to secure that basic security of lives and property as the foundation for economic activities and the foundation for economic growth as well as development? So ladies and gentlemen, the questions are legion. The answers, real answers, are very, very few. I believe over the next 2 days, we should be able to find very innovative solutions and not a repetition of the run-and-the-mill things we've been saying over the years. And most importantly, it's not just enough for us to talk about the beautiful things in this lecture room. If we don't end up with saying how we are going to meet those ladies and gentlemen in the National Assembly, this will have been an effort and a task in vain. And everybody must give a commitment of what he wants to do. It's no longer a question of being left to the conveners or the organizers or X or Y. We must all have a real stake in the development of this country after this civil society summit on the budget. So ladies and gentlemen, I want to welcome you on behalf of CSJ and our partners in the Citizens World Platform, and wish you all happy and fruitful deliberations. Thank you. We will now